coming on a little early, catching you off guard. Normally do the 2:30 p.m. Central show. There's a lot of stuff going on, so wanted to make sure that I have time because we're getting real here. We're getting close to season. Just had the preseason tournament. Lots to discuss here today. Lots of shout-outs. I got to show you something cool. Actually, I have an item with me. Let me share this stream everywhere that it needs to be shared here. This is episode number, 76 of the Siteman Softball podcast. So let me just make sure everybody knows that we're live here. This is the little show before the show. So we're going to send this in a messenger to the boys. Been a very active messenger group this week. Also see our league team starts on Wednesday night too, which will be fun out at Wapple Horse in St. Charles, Missouri. Fun little league night on Wednesday night. We start just a couple Siteman guys on the team and then a lot of friends and going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to Wednesday nights because there's no stress on Wednesday nights, right? Save that for the weekends. Anyway, so let me make sure everyone's getting on here. All right, cool. We are live everywhere. Give me a shout. Let me know if you can hear this, see this, feel this, if you will. Type it in the comments. You can hear okay, all that kind of good stuff. Say hi, say bye, say whatever you want to before we hop in because there is actually a lot to cover here today. Way more than any other kind of preseason tournament. Got a lot to cover. I also know the Vegas bracket just came out, and I was surprised a little bit here as we get into the show here in a minute. In Vegas, is that there was not a huge amount of conference teams. Now, I don't know how many there were last year, so maybe this is just average for Vegas, but I saw 14 teams, and I saw a lot of B, a lot of C, other teams as well. So conference kicking off in Vegas. We'll be kicking off, of course, in Viera, Florida at the Hall of Fame Duel in 2-ish weeks. Is that where it is? Yeah, 2-ish weeks. A little bit more than that. But Conference USSSA does get rolling this weekend in Vegas. So everyone gets to play on the very short fields before they go to the long fields in Florida. All right, so let's get this party started here. This is episode number 76 of the Siteman Softball podcast. I'm David Siteman Garland, and today it's going to be all about the Dudley Pro-Am Bounty recap. Also talk about who won tournament MVP, tourney selections, shout-outs, much more. A lot to cover here today in the show. Some housekeeping first of all. I want to thank the Siteman Cancer Center for their sponsorship of the podcast. Reminder, Siteman Softball Nation on Facebook, at Siteman Softball on Instagram, and sitemansoftball.com/podcast. You can find out all the jazz that's going on there. Now, our topic of the week is just this. We're going to talk about this tournament recap, kind of go through some things. If you have any questions as well. First tournament that I've seen where the championship game had a lake in right field. Talk a little bit about that. A lot of things to cover, but going to be a lot of fun here. Topic of the week, by the way, is brought to you by our good friends at U.S. Bank Private Wealth Management. Strong partnerships are based on communication, trust, and taking the time to listen to your unique needs and financial goals. At U.S. Bank Private Wealth Management, we are dedicated to providing you customized financial strategies. Visit us at usbank.com/privatewealth. Equal housing lender, member FDIC. All right. So, first of all, I got to give some shout outs before we even talk about the Pro-Am Bounty tournament down in Arkansas. First shout out has to go to Ken Hawk and all the people that worked on the parks because, the weather was kind of a crazy situation, right? Number one was Friday. Couldn't have been worse weather. The tournament was a one-day Saturday tournament, but Friday could not have been worse, meaning rain, then nothing, then rain. I mean, it was out of control, right? But we knew Saturday was going to be beautiful. I mean, 72 and sunny, not a cloud in the sky, not super humid, really, really beautiful day for ball. So I think we all had our fingers crossed. Well, I know we all had our fingers crossed because we were leaving St. Louis. The guys are leaving St. Louis. And I called down to Ken. I said, what's the call here? Because we're leaving. We got guys getting on planes at various different places. Like, are we good to go? And he said, we're going to get it in. He says, it's going to happen. I even have a backup facility if we need it, but we're going to get it in. So we trusted Ken's word, and as usual, Ken came through, so we appreciate that. Down in Arkansas, the entire tournament happened with no shenanigans, delays, or anything like that. The only there was shenanigans. That would be the water and right about, which added just in my opinion, kind of a funny element to this that we'll talk about as we roll on here on the show. So first shout out goes to Ken Hawk. We appreciate you getting in the tournament as well. And then one thing I wanted to note is that there was a prize kicking out one of the bounty teams in the tournament. So you get $100-something, whatever it was, $200. I'm not really sure. Which was Aftershock was the bounty team. And so we won the money and donated that to a great cause that they have down there in Arkansas. A big part of, I believe it's called the Tony Jude. I don't know if it's called Foundation. Let me check that, what that is called. But I know Tony Jude was, a beloved umpire down there who passed away. There's kind of a big story around it. Ken Hawk told me a bit about it, but I do have to say that we donated it to them. So I hope that goes a bit of a way to help out there. I know that down in Arkansas, they spend a lot of time and money raising money for that. So happy to contribute in a small way to that as well. Now, next shout out is going to have to go to Aaron Dorflinger. I hope, Aaron, I pronounced your last name right. Peanut. Everyone calls him Peanut. That's what he is. Peanut Productions, and that is spelled with a P and a nut. No other way of saying that. Peanut Productions with a P and then a nut. And Gene's Outdoors. That's the things that he does. But Aaron made videos you're going to see. He was down at the Trip Roth taking cool videos. And some of our guys, Matt Petrov, et cetera, I talked to him about shooting this past weekend. And man, did he create a absolute killer sort of highlight hype video for us, for Siteman Pure. See some bombs, you see some water, you see some defense, you see all kinds of cool stuff. I put up last night, I think it's got already 4,000 or 5,000 views or whatever it is on Facebook. So I want to give a big shout out to Aaron. It's got that cinematic quality when you check out the videos where it feels like you're in a movie, right? So really, really cool. Big shout out to Aaron. I appreciate for that. Also, Garrett Standridge, who did a great job shooting, also was video as well. I know he's on Arkansas Stealth. Well, I'll talk about them later on. We didn't get a chance to play them, but got some thoughts on Arkansas Stealth I'll share here on the podcast. But also big shout out to Garrett, shooting photos, shooting videos for us. We have an album up on Facebook, a lot of cool photos. I mean, especially it's cool with these preseason walk away with so much media, right? So much media besides the purpose of the tournament, which we'll talk about in a minute. Getting so many cool things, videos and all that kind of stuff to go, videos and photos, etc., was great. So thank you, Garrett, for that as well. Also have to give a shout out. I have to do this every week though, for sure. Miss Jessica, who is Brandon Keene's girlfriend, who does an amazing job with the scorekeeping all weekend down there in Arkansas. Give a shout out to her. And finally, I got to give a shout out to Arkansas ARGM, aka Matt Carney, right? Now he's not getting a shout out for his umpiring quality. That's not what the shout out's for. We're getting a shout out as he made me this really cool glove, which I'm going to show you guys here in a second. Super excited to try this out and break it out. I'll let you know. Let me see, where did I put it? What I think of it. But check this baby out. As everybody knows, I'm very, very well known for my defense. So this glove will come in very handy. But check this baby out. Got it in Siteman colors. Boom. Got the pink. Got this. We got the DSG. It's kind of backwards, as you'll see on here, but you get the idea. Siteman, it's actually the right side up. Trust me when I see it, right? So it's got my name. It's got number. It's got the Siteman. Got the Arkansas glove man. You can check him out on Facebook. And of course, it's a lefty glove, which is correct for me. So I'm looking forward to breaking this baby in. By the way, what do I do with this? Do I cut this? I don't know. Someone tell me what I'm supposed to do with this little string here. Does it just hang? Does it hang out? Do I go snip? Let me know. I don't want to break the glove on day one of trying to use it. So let me know on that. But a big thank you, Matt. This is great stuff. I've got what I have a 44 Pro glove that I have, and I really like this one, and this one feels very, very, very similar. So that's great news to me. The leather is definitely high quality. So getting this in so that if I ever get in the field and make 100 airs, I will look very good doing it with my glove. Okay, so big shout out. Thank you, Matt. Some guys, Drew saying yank on the strings. Clayton says keep it. Let it hang, baby. All right, we're just going to let it. We're just going to let it hang. That's the way we're going to do it with it. But yeah, this came out awesome as well. Jose Hernandez also has one of those. You can check that out on his Facebook page. I'll put a video up of this at some point as well. But he has one that's different colors as well that came out great. It's more of the Puerto Rican, a little homage to Jose's background. And you can see that on his page as well on Facebook. But yes, thank you, Matt, for that. So that is basically the shout outs for the weekend. And we're going to talk about the recap, and we're going to go into the MVP and all tournament stuff that we haven't announced yet, and then some games, some thoughts, etc. here on the show. Okay. Now, first of all, the recap, right? We won. Yay. Undefeated. A lot of fun. Accomplished exactly what we wanted to do down there, right? We want to come in, and the philosophy on the team was a few things. One, we just want to play together, right? We just want to go down, play as a team to get ready for Vieira. That was the entire purpose of this, we didn't want to step on the field. The core of our team is still the core of our team, but we added several new guys, and most guys know each other, but not everybody. So we want to get together and get some swings, get some games in. And really, as we said, it was us against us, meaning that's our philosophy when we go into this type of tournament. We just want to see what we can do. What can we do on offense? What can we do on defense, etc. Make sure our communication is good. And that was something early last season I think we lacked was, everybody communicating. And what went is a real field general out there. Brent McClure in the middle, really being able to set the defense extremely well. That made a huge difference on defense in this tournament. But really just working on our swings. And then, honestly, just getting some time in with each other, right? Like getting some time in, getting a dinner in, getting some lunches in, just getting some time together here before the season, because we don't want to be, jumping into the duel without a little warm up. And it's interesting as you look across the board of conference teams, is some play preseason tournaments, some play a lot of preseason tournaments. 0. Some play, a lot of people are, we always talk about this. You're responsible for your own preparation to be ready for conference season. But some tournaments, some teams play 3 tournaments. Some teams play 1. Some teams play 0, right? I like getting the 1 here under our belt. I'd be curious about your guys' thoughts. What are your thoughts on preseason tournaments as a team, right? And knowing that nothing quite replicates what conference is going to be in terms of the rules, environment, all that kind of stuff. But I like getting, if I had a choice, 1 to 2 max, I think is pretty good because that conference season's a grind. Don't worry, Brent, I will not cut it. I promise. I won't snip. I won't. No snip. I will not circumcise the glove, guys. Don't worry about it. Okay? I got it. But I like getting the, 1-ish, maybe 2-ish tournaments in during the season. Before the season. And then focus on the conference season. I wouldn't do more than that. I think the 1 was completely fine. The only negative on this tournament was that Tyler Cookland couldn't make it last minute, out of our control. Unfortunately, his flight was canceled. He had to go from Iowa to St. Louis to, I guess, Little Rock. I think that's what it was. Unfortunately, out of our control, his flight was canceled on, Friday night. So we weren't able to get him there. I know that's going to be disappointing. I know that from myself, from tournaments, that could be disappointing when you're all ready to go and then boom, you don't get a chance to go. So we were missing him. We were missing David Bear, who of course is coming back from injury. He'll be available later in April. And then John Branham as well, who had a previous conflict that we knew about. He'll be joining us in Florida. So other than that, we were all hands on deck with our players. And what's nice about this tournament also everybody batted 12 players in the tournament, because it's not a conference. You can only bat 11. We want everybody to get swings in, everybody to have some fun, get involved, and so accomplish that as well. In terms of the situation at the tournament, number one, there was the bounty, which we won, donated to the Tony Jude Foundation, I believe it's called. The weather was as advertised, so it was 70s and beautiful on Saturday. And I do have to say, Arkansas, why I enjoy playing down there, besides that there's 2 umpires, a scorekeeper, etc., and good teams to play down there, atmosphere is always great because there's other teams going on, players, girls division, there's other divisions. And so when you're playing games, there's a really good atmosphere. It's not like playing in some kind of empty park or anything like that. There's a really, really good atmosphere down there in Arkansas. So that definitely was an A+. River situation. So there was a lot of rain, and I don't know exactly what happened, but in the parking lot outside the field was relatively dry in the morning. Maybe there's a little bit of water, and there was no more rain the rest of the day. But there's a levee or something near there, and maybe some homes were going to be flooded. I have no idea what happened, but at some point it was like whoosh, water down into the parking lot, right? And then the water sort of creeped onto the field. It's not fast, slow, like a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. So on our field, we were affected in right field for our last 2 games. And it was funny because even then it kind of grew. The field to where the girls were playing, kind of catty corner to us, it was left field, right? And so this created an interesting element. Thankfully, we had Scuba Steve, a.k.a. Brandon Keene, out there, who's a crazy person. He said, guess what? I'm going to go running right in there, running into the water. Don't care. Going to catch it. Because the rule became worse. At first, there was no rule. Then as it got worse, was that it's a dead ball ground rule double if it hits the ground. But if someone goes in there like a crazy person and catches it, it was an out. And that was Brandon. Brandon was the crazy person going in there, getting the out. Here comes the UPS truck, by the way. I just got to give someone a shout. Give me 1 second. Let me give a shout here. All right, cool. Yeah, so we had the conditions, but overall, I mean, the outfield was a little sloppy. The infield was a little bit muddy, but it did replicate a softball game, meaning it wasn't like you played in some weird thing with weird rules, and it didn't feel like you're playing like real softball. This felt like real softball, and it was. So that was great. The live streams were rolling, and also Jesse, I got to give a shout out to the BP hero, Mr. Jesse. He reached out and wanted to rebroadcast the championship game. I appreciate him reaching out on that, which he did on his page, the BP hero, of course, and did commentary, did a scoreboard. It was pretty badass. Be sure to check that out, the BP hero. And he did a great job with that. Overall, though, pretty cool. Live stream views were 7,000 plus on the weekend. So that is really, really nice. All right, apparently not there. Okay, cool. Just doing some notes here as we roll along. So that was sort of the weekend, if you will. Now, I am going to go through the awards for the tournament. I didn't have time to get a post up on this. Maybe I'll do one later on. Here was the awards in the tournament. I think very well deserved. I think a lot of people could have gotten even more awards. Played well in this one. The MVP of the Dudley Pro-Am Bounty is Mr. Daniel Larson, making his Siteman Pure debut, the bang, in the leadoff spot, and also playing shortstop. And he did it on both sides of the ball the whole day. Hilariously, we'll get to that in a minute. In our first game, our 1, 2, and 3 hitters all popped up to start the game. May as well get that out of the way. Better now. But the funny thing is that was Danny's only out of the entire tournament, was the pop-up that he posted on Facebook to start the tournament, where he also slipped in the mud. So that was his one out. I guess we'll give him one, still MVP quality, I guess, with one out. And then the rest of the tournament was doing it all. Backside, power when needed, line drives on offense. Did a great job. Defense is, Danny's bread and butter, and he took away multiple hits in this tournament as well. And there was one that was a particularly good kind of, I'll call it, meaning momentum swing. against Aftershock, where they kind of cut into our lead. It was maybe a 2-run game at the time, and there was a ball that went right through Eric Conan's legs. Obviously going to be a hit in the championship, and it's going right up the middle, and boom, here comes sliding Danny out, and then a cannon right on point to get their leadoff hitter by a step. We get the next out. We come in, kind of killed the big inning there. Someone gets on, Danny hits a 2-run home run. So that was a big swing there in that game, and defense can make such a big difference. So Danny with the well-deserved MVP of the tournament. The defensive MVP has to go, only one option, Brandon Scuba Steve Keene in right field, who said, hey, no free doubles on my watch. I'm going to go in there, run around like a crazy person and catch balls. No free double. Scuba Steve is on the prowl. And that is what happened in the tournament. And he most definitely deserved defensive MVP and also hit extremely well. But I'm talking about, the effort you look for out there was unbelievable from Brandon in right field. In absolutely efficient. Then we had 5 guys on the all-tournament team. And I'm not going to go through each one too individually, but note that they did everything well. That's why they're all on the all-tournament team. Jagger Harjo, I think maybe 2 outs on the tournament. Brent McClure was great on both sides. Drew Rogers crushed it in his own backyard there, of course, so he's on there. Eric Conan, honestly, unless you're just winning every game 55-54, pitching, as we know, plays such a huge role in tournament wins, in game wins, in every single situation. So Eric did a very rock steady job on the mound. Again, also with some umpires he wasn't as familiar with, trying to get used to the strike zone and things like that as well. So Eric gets on the all-tournament team. And then the comeback player of the tournament, someone that came in the tournament, was not happy about his trip Roth and first couple at bats at this tournament, was Derek Berginski, and then did not make an out. Despite swinging at the world's lowest pitch that could possibly be swung at and getting a hit on it, Derek, though, got it together, and so also team. So MVP, Danny Larson. Defensive MVP, Brandon Keene. All-tournament team, Jagger Harjo, Brent McClure, Drew Rogers, Eric Conant, Derek Berginski. All right? So last part here, we're going to go into a little bit about the games. Obviously, they were all live stream. You can see them at facebook.com/David Garland. We leave them up. Any live stream I do, like we're going to do a live stream on Wednesday night at league night, I leave them up. I don't care what happens. Good, bad, ugly, they stay up. I'm not one of those people that if we don't do well, I take down the live stream or something, right? But let's get into that here in 1 second here. Okay, so I'm going to go to the box scores. I'm not going to go, in extreme detail, but I'm going to go to the box score here in a second so I can see them. So the first game of the year, we played Play the Game, Monaco. And that was the game where we got off to the amazing start of popping up 1, 2, 3 to start the game. And then we came back in and scored 10 in the second inning. And then kind of raced from there. I think 8 in the third and went from there. Ended up scoring 35 runs in 5 innings in that game. And this final score was 35-21. Got to give a shout out to Play the Game in this game. They did a very good job playing again, and they hit the ball very, very well. I mean, 21 runs is no joke. I mean, you have a 65-minute time limit. Games are relatively short. Scoring 21 runs was good. I mean, definitely put a little pressure on us early in that game. So shout out to Play the Game. They did a good job in that game against us. Now, in this game was on the hitting side, after we kind of got that first inning out of the way, I got to tell you, the team as a whole absolutely raked in the game. We had 12 hitters, and the worst hitters in this game were 3 for 5. We had multiple guys 4 for 5. One guy, Drew Rogers, 5 for 5. We also used all 12 of our home runs, which is something that we want to, make a focal point, is that we want to use those home runs, right? So we used all 12. Clayton unfortunately hit the 13th, so that one didn't count. But came out there, it was a good first game, and a shout out to Play the Game. They played very well in that game against us. So that was that. Then we played later on, and the two scores here of the last two games. I wonder if one of these was a mistake, but I'm not really sure. I think they're about right. Was beating Aftershock 24-13 and then 23-13 in the two games there. Both games, though, similar scores, but a little bit different games. Early on in both those games, very close. I think one of the games was 11-11, actually. Very close. One of the things that we wanted to improve on this year, finding that great play defensive out, which we did multiple times, and also, when needed, unleash the power, right? I feel like last year we had some power, but it wasn't as automatic as we wanted it to be, right, in certain cases. So, for example, we came in, we knew there was an inning left, something like that in the game. I think we had 5 or 6 home runs. We hit 3 in 3 pitches, boom, 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 and then used another one. So we want that power to be there when you need it and when you've stocked up those home runs or kept them or ready to use them. So, that was a good thing. And also didn't want to go to the if game because the championship game went all the way to 12:45 a.m. anyway. So was happy that we did that. Aftershock, though, very solid team. I think they're going to play some conference events this year. They're a veteran team that's been around. They've got a lot of guys that have played across the board at high levels as well. So, they're a different type of team. They're a veteran team versus kind of a younger team, which we'll talk about here in a second. Arkansas Stealth, we didn't get a chance to play them, but I'll talk about them in a second. But Aftershock is a very solid hitting team. They're, in my opinion, even though we scored a fair amount of runs, I think their pitcher was, my opinion, maybe it was just me because I was having trouble specifically hitting them for God knows what reason. But I thought their pitcher did a very good job against us, so that'll be an interesting team to keep an eye on as well as we roll through. Aftershock, shout out to them. They took second. Third place went to Arkansas Stealth. Now, we didn't get a chance to play Stealth, but when I'm at the ballpark, I'm always watching everything. So I sit, I watch games. Even if it doesn't look like I'm paying attention, I pay attention to everything. Keep an eye on for stuff. I really like that Arkansas Stealth team as a C team. I think they're going to do all kinds of damage in the C division. I'm talking about not only in Arkansas, but I'd expect at a national level as well. I know they did very well down at the Triproth. They're a young, fast, hardworking team. Has some bigger guys and has, some power as well. I was like, okay, they might be like kind of a littler team slapping it around. They do that, but they also do have power. They got it across the board. They've got good pitching. They've got great defense. But what I think might separate them when you see it in the future is hunger. They're going. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if they're down 10 or 20 or 30. They're going. They're not going to give up. They're not going to throw in the towel. We see too many teams, if you get out to a good start against them, boom, throw in the towel, right? They're a team that goes, and they stick to it. And I think that there's a bright future for that team, just from what I saw in the tournament. I didn't get to see some of the other teams as much as maybe I wanted to, but I did get to see Stealth play a couple times and was impressed with them. Some very solid defense, speed, and a good team. I think they're going to give C teams fits at Worlds. I'm assuming they're going to go to C Worlds this year. They're going to give teams all kinds of fits. So shout out to Arkansas Stealth for a good tournament down there as well in the Open. The other thing that I appreciate about them, and I hope more teams take this to heart. I know they're a C team. I know this weekend in Vegas, there's a lot of C teams playing in the tournament. In the major. Like 10 C teams, a crazy amount of C teams. But a big thing that makes these C teams better is not being worried about who they're playing against. Playing A teams, playing B teams, playing major teams, playing whatever. And it only is going to make them better. And that mindset of we don't care who's across from us, more teams could use for sure. So shout out to them. Arkansas, like I said, was a blast. And now we're looking all ahead towards Vieira. That's our next stop, is Vieira. Next stop is Vieira, Florida. Now, this the Vegas, the first tournament for the conference USSSA. I'm going to wrap up talking about that here in a second. There's 14 conference teams down there. Who's going to win? Someone pick out a winner for me. Who is going to win this tournament? Let me get the bracket here for a hot second. Grab the bracket. I know I sent it in here somewhere. There it is. Who's everybody like in Vegas? So it's basically all West Coast teams playing in this one. I know I sent it out here somewhere. There it is. Okay, found it. Now you've got non-conference teams in there. But from a conference level, you've got Seminoles, Rismondo, EAS, LNS Glass, RoofX, Competitive Edge, NFM Lending, Cheap Suits, Classic Glass, Nitro Circus, Straight Play, MPT Rentals, JBL making their debut. And also, for some reason, they didn't have the right color next to them, but also Smash It. And also, isn't Corsi Realty a conference team? Yes, they are as well. Usually the conference teams have red on the schedule. For some reason, not all of them do. So maybe there's about 14 or 15 conference teams in this one. Who do you guys like, though? I mean, hard to predict in the first tournament of the year. Drew Rogers is saying Comp Edge MPT final. That would not be a surprise. I don't think that'd be a surprise. It's hard to go, it's hard to say, look at one of these tournaments and be like, well, a major team's not going to win it. Right? It's hard to look at that and be like, well, a major team's not going to win it, right? That's not a great prediction, I don't think. Not saying it's not possible, but there's some very solid AA teams in this tournament. I think Nitro Circus is going to be a very solid AA team this year. JBL will be an extremely solid AA team as well, and you can't count out any of these other ones. Obviously, RoofX, Seminoles. So you're going to have some other people that are going to make a run at it. Based on the bracket, you're going to, it's going to be a very interesting potential game on Saturday between MPT Rentals and JBL. And then you're going to have kind of a possible, I don't know, Nitro Circus Classic Glass maybe, or Cheap Suits, one or the other. And then you might end up with, say, Competitive Edge and NFM Lending there. No, I would not. I'll go, God, it's hard to go against Competitive Edge versus MPT Rentals in the finals. However, keep an eye out on JBL on that bottom part of the bracket. Might make it in there as well. That's what I'll say as well. I'm going on nothing. I'm going on nothing here. I'm going on the fact, just guessing. So don't take any offense to it. I'm going on a pure guessing method here with zero analytics that I'm looking at. So Drew Rogers saying Competitive Edge is in midseason form and MPT only got better. I agree. I think the Vegas line would say, MPT versus Comp Edge. In the finals, you would also, well, you know what? You got Rismondo. I feel like Rismondo, no one's talking about Rismondo, and that might be very scary for everybody. They might also come out of that top part of that bracket with Competitive Edge. It's funny, we almost forget about Rismondo. I don't know how we do that. But Resi, Competitive Edge, up at that top or whatever. That's where I think it's going to be. AJ says, I hit it well this weekend. I appreciate it, AJ. I had one bad game in the middle. It's fun. Any preseason tournament, I want to try to get as many swings as I can in. Because of the duel, I'm only going to play, depending on the situation, depending on who we're playing. But I'll get a little bit in at the duel. But it was a blast. Yes, I was happy. First game. If you guys don't see my video on Facebook, first game I was 4 for 5 in the first game. I had a single, and the world's tiniest single was my second at bat, where I hit the ball about 3.5 feet. I was trying to go opposite field. I was standing too far away from the plate, and then my back foot slipped, and I did the worst chop down thing. It wasn't a chop because a chop would be an out. It was a full swing, nicked the ball, and it went about 3.5 feet into the mud, and I was safe at first. Then made an out. No, then had a double, made an out, and then was fortunate enough to hit our last home run, which is a 3-run home run. So I was happy about that. My approach in the offseason been a little bit different than in the past. Past off seasons, I hit a lot, hit, probably too much. This off season, I try to focus more on strength, plyometrics, gym very, very hard, and almost, I don't want to say minimizing hitting, but only hitting a couple times because there's plenty as we go into the season. So I think other than a couple timing issues in that second game and maybe the beginning of the third one, I think that I was happy about, where my ability is. Hopefully that I can contribute when I'm in there this year to the team, which is always a blast. So I appreciate that, AJ. Thank you for the shout out. All right, folks, that wraps it up. Good luck to everyone playing in Vegas. Soon enough, we're going to be having I can't believe we're already here. The Hall of Fame dual preview will be coming soon here on the show. A big shout out to Siteman Cancer Center and U.S. Bank Private Wealth Management for their sponsorships. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time. Bye.